I think this is the difference between men and women, maybe, because we ask certain things, and for ladies, y'all like to hold certain information. Y'all don't think it's necessary to tell.
That's not ladies. That's people.
Mostly, all right. So
It's not mostly anything.
The
That's
females
people.
that I've been encountering throughout my life have been reluctant to speak on certain topics that they would speak to me, but they won't speak to the person who needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why won't you tell that person? And they feel like they don't need to know. And then if it comes to a thing where that person is doing such and such, and I ask them if they need to know certain things or they should ask, they don't want to. So it's like they don't want to be aware of a lot of things, or they don't want to let somebody be aware of a lot of things. Whereas for a male
it comes
or
with
myself,
certain things. Once you say something, you're responsible for it.
Right.
Men do the same thing. Men withhold information and they feel, oh, this person doesn't need to know this. For whatever reason that is, if that's where you at right now with yourself, then that's what you want. And that's something between you and yourself and God. That's on that. Period.
right?
Because I don't think that men or women do it more or less than each other.
I didn't say more or less, but the reasons why is different. And so to my point is, if a man doesn't give information to somebody, it's really to protect whoever, the man, the woman, whoever it is. But when a woman does it, in my experience, it was more so for I guess to protect. Sometimes it's to protect others, but for the most part, it was to protect herself. If that makes sense. So
you did say in your situations, that your experiences.
Yeah.
So all right, if that happened in your experience, then yeah, that happened. But the protection of the whole room, yeah, because a guy could say something and it could turn the whole house into a spiral. But a girl could say something and it could turn the whole house into a spiral too. So it could be just a protection of your feelings, her feelings, and I think it's the same. I think it's the same reasons. Now, if you're talking about lying ass people, it's the same in both ways too. You saying it to lie for your personal. Men lie all the time for their personal gain.
But I don't know if that's what's the reason?
That's what I'm just
So
saying.
lying
I'm just
is-
saying it's not. This goes back to what we was going to talk about anyway, with the reason for why each gender may cheat. But people have to. First of all, everyone is protecting themselves first, men and women. Even though they say, oh, they're protecting the family, you're, in a sense, you have to make sure you're protected too, so you can even protect the family. So the awareness of self is first and foremost. You got to even know what's going on with you for you even understanding God. Like, this all comes kind of at the same time. You kind of can't tell the first, the second, like the chicken and the egg. But when it comes to that lying thing or withholding information, I think it's would be protection of the whole thing, unless this person is very self-centered and everything is just about them.
I understand where you're going and what you're saying, and I agree with your I guess the well, what you're saying, but not exactly the words you're using to say it. Because I don't think lying has. It sounds like more of an excuse for both, because both genders do it, of course, but it's for good reason, and I don't believe that any lie is for good reason.
Well, or withholding. I said and or. I believe I said and, if withholding information. Because some people look at withholding information as a lie.
That part I agree with, and I think that part is where it's not a lie. Because if that was the case, then God be lying. Because there's a lot of things that we can't handle that God withholds from us because we're not ready for it. And then when you're ready for it, then He gives it to you. So that my point was that this is the way that I operate, and this is the way that I see a lot of men that I see as men operate. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to women, this is the way that a lot of women that behave like women operate. But when we're talking about these days, in the majority, men and women, or males and females, they lie a lot for selfish reasons. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to my experience, I experience more of those women. And of course, I don't really deal with men like that, so I can't really speak on, because men, of course, they lie, but I'm watching them as I'm growing up, and I'm seeing like why they lie. And it doesn't harm me as much as it harms the women. Because once they do it to me, or once I see it, as a male, I don't really need nothing from him to be that attached to when he lies. You don't need to lie to me, but I notice you're lying to me. So now I become a leader, because I can show that male that I know you're lying, but you need to stop, because there's no reason to lie. And then he feels the energy, and he sees the way that I go about things, and then he changes his behavior. And that's what I got from the real men, is that they hold me accountable without even having to say something sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, and the women too. So when it comes to like character, people cheating is not really necessarily, it is the same, but it's in a different, with a different perspective of why they do what they do. But it's all the same.
And I would say with that is like usually the average case. Women cheat for this reason, men cheat for that reason. But as we talk about the masses and the time we're in, there are women that it looks like they're cheating in the same way guys are cheating. Because people would say women cheat more to be vague, like for an emotional reason, and men cheat for a physical, lustful reason, or they're not getting some type of sexual pleasure at home, right? But at least when I listen to the rap girls, the drill girls, sometimes they sound like they just cheating just for a physical, lustful thing too. Like as if with detachment, like they're hitting this guy and on to the next one. They didn't even feel nothing for him. Like before it was like if you slept with somebody, you're probably gonna start to like him. Right. But at least the rap music, and I don't know. I can't think right now if I know someone personally. I feel like I do, but I can't even. I'm not going to say it now anyway. But I can't think off the top of my head. But a girl can sleep with somebody that's just be like, yeah, no feeling. On to the next. Bye. See you later. The same way guys, they say that's why guys cheat too. Like it's just a quick little thing or weakness, real quick, and there was no emotion, no attachment. We was just fucking. So it becomes complex because the way the world is being open about all their business, not withholding information when it's supposed to be. Like, that's your thing to yourself. Like, you don't need to tell me about all the men and women. There's no reason I need to know. But I don't really care.
I think this is the reason why. It's like when they say the truth should set you free, most of these people who are talking on these podcasts have a lot of chaos inside of them, and they need to get it out. And this in their mind is the right way to get it out. In their mind,
like saying it to the world.
Yeah, like this is them freeing themselves.
The same as that guy. Mind. If you can find that video.
With what?
Well, maybe I can and just resend it to you. No, the guy that's what I want to talk about. The when he got cheated on and he posted the whole
Oh yeah.
the whole situation.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could find it because I think I pinned it.
Do you want to hear it?
I think we could just because it's a long video.
It is, but I remember parts of it.
It sounded like he started saying he was telling a story about his girl going on. I don't know if it was a girl's trip or a trip with her homegirl, and at some point in the night, she didn't reach out to him or even tell him when she landed. It was something of that sort that she didn't check in. So when he finally got a hold of her, it was through the friend. So the whole thing sounds suspect because it seemed like she probably was with another man and the friend had to cover for her eventually. Something like that happened. If you knew the breakdown better.
So it started with like she was gonna have a girls trip. She went out to have her girls trip and he called her. She didn't pick up or something like that. He kept calling her. I think he finally got in touch with her. She had like a hangover or something, but her friend told her. And then he was like, where she's at? And she was like, she's such and such. She's over at such and such house. And so he's thinking to himself, so if you're not with her, that means she reached out to you and she didn't pick up for me.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring all this out and now I'm thinking to myself, something's up. Mm-hmm. And then the friend told him one thing, and then the girl told him another, and then he's a little bit more worried. And then skip forward to when he's in the car talking about he makes his way to her parents' house to get his
in time. So he's already came to the conclusion where he's like, I know she played me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take this.
I'm done.
She don't have to tell me. He knew.
Right.
So he investigated or he did what he did to a point that he said, nah, no.
Right.
That makes me feel like there's more to that story of why you came to that conclusion and there was no more information you needed about that situation.
Right.
And then he went back online in a different situation. First, he's already online telling his business. As the young kids would say, that's red flag number one on your part.
But he was a young kid because he was also in college, and he was also, I think he said he was doing Golden Gloves, which is boxing. Mm-hmm. So he's still young, and I saw some of the comments and other people was like, "Oh, he's still a young boy. That's why he's talking like this." And
yeah, he's going online.
Yeah, and that behavior comes from being young because. So on one end, a lot of guys are gonna understand why he did what he did as far as the iPad or whatever it was. I think it was an iPad.
So he went back for the iPad at the family's house. Because
he invested into her. So it's not just one. He's not even in a financial situation to be all right. So you don't know what his hardships is. Maybe he's thinking like, all right, I need to get that back so I can get a few dollars in my pocket. Because like he said, he was struggling. He was doing school. He was paying for stuff for her. And then he was also, trying to do whatever he was doing with boxing. And he got out of shape because of her. He wasn't waking up early to work out. He wasn't doing a lot of stuff. So, yeah, he has issues. And she has issues. Now, a lot of the stuff that transpires over the course of these relationships is that, these people go into relationships to worship each other and think that one of the person is going to fix each other and take away from the lack of character that they have on one side or the other, and then it gets worse instead of better, and then they want to break up. And once they break up, now he's saying that he wants his stuff back, and you can't really recover your stuff back. Like, you're just trying to find a way to make sense of it, because right now you can't make sense of it.
But in some sense, he's doing it to be petty too. He's trying to get her back as well. Yeah. The same as you going online to talk about her. So it's not just, my financial reasons. That now sounds like an excuse.
No, the financial reasons is one reason for him to to use the excuse of being petty. But he does need money because he's in college and all of that other stuff. And like she said, he's giving out blood to get money, which nobody knew except her. So yeah, he's being petty, but he's also not in good terms financially. So he's gonna use that as a reason to go see her. So it's a reason, but ultimately it's an excuse because all this stuff he allowed or he created, and it was unnecessary. But this is how he coped with it, and this is why a lot of people do it this way.
Well, it was necessary.
What?
Because everything he did. So even though, and I think we had this conversation before, where certain things got to get bad for you to learn. If he was already going out of shape, messing his career up, spending his money, because if you donating blood but you able to buy an iPad, that means your priorities messed up too, because after you donated blood because you needed money, you bought an iPad.
Right.
Was she somebody that needed an iPad? Was she using it for work, for professionalism? Like, you already messed up.
Right.
She's already petty if she's going on a girl trip and still dating you. Y'all both being the same. The bad parts about yourselves is being seen in the other person that you're dating.
Right.
So for him to go online and speak that way, to me, he looks like a fool. She's messed up for playing him like that, but you seem just as foolish as she's messed up. So you were bound to get into this situation. Good thing it happened when you were young like this. Now, is it going to create a savage and another red pill guy if he continues to do the same thing? If he doesn't take out certain characteristics that she clearly had. And there's people not thinking about the wider range of, this is the way you are in this situation in life. You're probably this way in that situation in life. We're the same person in every aspect of our lives. So if you don't look at it like that, then you're going to keep picking up the same girl and be like, oh, nah, but this one is light-skinned, though. That's that. She had that dark-skinned girl energy. They always mad. The light-skinned ones are more calm. But then you go with the same personality, but you think it's different because something ridiculous like that, which I've heard people say.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like all of this cheating stuff is really like most people are confused.
Yeah, you're getting to know yourself, so you're gonna do ridiculous things.
Yes and no, because every human being is discovering themselves, but at the same time, if you don't if you're not put in a position where or you're putting yourself in a position where you can actually discover yourself in a safe environment or a healthy environment, then you'll always be going in a circle and you'll give up.
But that takes time to sit back and think with yourself. For me to even realize that everything's connected, how I am with my parents, how I am with my friends, how I am with my siblings, how I am with my coworkers. For me to understand I'm the same way with all of them because it's my character.
Right.
A lot of people can't even think that.
But that's what I'm saying, is that you broke the cycle and you started working on your character.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta learn that you're doing fuck shit. There's so much I've learned from getting too fucked up one night and drinking and blurring out, this is how I feel about you and that and this, like. But I had to do that more than once to be able to be like, oh, okay, I feel this way about something. I need to check myself.
So in your opinion, do you believe that it's more about the person than it is about the actions?
Yes. Cheating is about you. It's not nothing to do with your partner or your lover. That's why when they take it offensively, I think the partner needs to rethink that too. It's not really about you.
So why does... And I say this because I don't there's personalities and character traits and all this stuff, but then there's also trends and cultures, and it grows. Like, so you can still be a righteous person and do all this stuff, but you still have the same bad habit that you had when you was 15 and you're 42 or something.
Okay.
So it's not really about sometimes the person or the personality or the character. Sometimes people are just in their mind missing something, and they want to follow the crowd in this area. But most other areas, it's like, it's clean. So they give themselves a break. Like, hey, everybody else does it, so let me just do this one thing.
Yeah, it's the same if I have a whole night and be like, we getting lit tonight. I've been good, so we doing this tonight. That's wrong of me to think. But I will find an excuse to be like, but just this one time. Now, that can be just a release. That's the same, I think, people cheat or do a heavy drug and still have, like, the rest of their days, they'll keep their composure. But I think everyone has some type of vice.
Right. And so that's what I'm trying to, I guess, make sense of.
It'd be Jesus for some people.
Huh?
It'd be Jesus for a lot of people.
What do you mean?
Jesus be people vice.
Yeah, but
just his name alone.
I think that's different. That's if you're talking about people who are religious.
No, you don't gotta be religious to use Jesus as a vice. These people don't even be religious. They just, I don't know, whatever power is in and just saying these things. They just go with that, and they have nothing to do with church. They don't care about their books or understanding themselves deeper, understanding God. Just saying Jesus, they arouses them.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're just saying a person's name who's no longer here, it's the same thing as if I had a loved one that left, that's not here no more, and I say that person's name. To your point, yeah, that's something for me to kind of feel good or be at peace and just say I miss you, just to get that out and put it in the air. But we're talking about character. Then you're saying the name, but you're not really using the character. Then
I'm saying it has the same effect.
Effect on what? The person?
It's like yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Those are two separate things. One thing is religious.
I don't think they're that different.
What?
There's people that go to church for the drug, for the trend, for this. The same way sleeping around, hanging out for the trend. There's people that are there doing that, and not to be disrespectful to the church. I don't think it has anything to do with the church or the pastor. It's that individual that is missing something, and that's their new drug.
All right, so
and not in a disrespectful way to the church, but it's like the same as the partner. The partner doesn't need to take that personal, the same as the church shouldn't take personal that they just come in here for show. Because it has nothing to do with you. It's all to do with that person and what they looking for, what they need, or whether they're releasing something or gaining something.
I agree, but that's what I'm trying to say is that, like, we don't know, even for us, right? There's probably people who probably hear what we're saying and want to eventually get to a point where they listen in just to get something from us. But
at some point it could be a drug if they always tuning into our channel to a point that it's like it almost is religiously, where no, you need to get up and go do. What are you just taking the information to ball it up in your head and what?
Right, but this all right. So this is what I'm trying to say is that, like, everything is one. So depending on the person, of course, I guess to your point, I think that's what you're alluding to, is like depending on how much you need something, you're going to keep going back to that, and you're going to be consistent. And that's religious. You're consistently coming back. But if you inherit these tools or these characteristics to a point where you don't need to go back, you can move on to something else. now you're being more, I guess, as an individual.
Yeah, but the way that happened, I'm not saying there is no other way, but it's proven that it's possible that it's all already was supposed to have been done for you, and this is your journey that's going to get you to the next part of it. Some people get stuck there. Are they supposed to be stuck there? I don't know. But as an observer of myself and other people, and just nature, the way it works in itself, the trees, how stuff grow, how the seasons change, it's like, I guess this is supposed to happen. Like, for summer to happen, it has to hit that rain season, that thunderstorm, that in-between weather, that windiness, for that summer to finally come.
Right.
It just is, it has to move this way. It has to have that storm for that beauty. Maybe some people's storm is light, but you could also tell in certain people's character when they haven't gone through the craziness or the chaotic mess of what people would call that. There's something in them that can seem, they lack the knowledge of certain stuff. And it's because it wasn't for them.
In that moment.
In what moment?
It wasn't for them in that moment. Because, like, all right, so when it comes to cheating, it's very, I guess, depending on the person.
And I don't think you can cheat technically unless you're married.
I agree. But even to that extent, like, there is a lot that goes into it that people don't understand. So the language you're speaking is unheard of, because most people don't know what marriage is, even people who are married, on books, on the papers. So, do you eat gum?
No. You say my breath stink?
No, I have gum.
If
so
it do, then I'll take one.
I don't smell it.
Okay, then I don't need it.
But
you could be real with me, I would rather you tell me so then I could think about,
I'm always gonna be honest.
Whatever your morning routine was this morning with the mouth, like, you need to check yourself. So
I would tell you, but anyway. So yeah, for the most part, like, cheating, I say this because in my experience, I've never cheated on anybody, but a lot of those females that I was with, and I was young, so it is what it is, but they cheated, right? But
they cheated on you?
Yeah. So as a kid, I would see that as cheating. As an adult, I would see that as not really. Like, what did they do? Even if they had sex with somebody, I didn't have sex with them. So it was just like, perspective plays a part as well, and the truth plays a part in terms of, I didn't really carry myself as a boyfriend for me to even feel like I should be there, but I did invest. I tried, and I liked them. I loved them. So once I got to a point where I felt like they belonged to me, that's when I felt like, oh, they cheated.
What you mean you liked them, you lust them? You didn't really like her?
Some of them I liked in terms of them being a person, and I didn't want to hurt their feelings, so I went out with them because they wanted it. And some of them I actually lust for, like, my eyes said, like, they look good and I want to go with them, but I didn't know how to behave like a boyfriend or behave like a husband or whatever it was.
Okay.
So the reality is, I'm cheating myself. I'm lying to myself. And a lot of the times when people do this relationship thing, and they say that this person cheated on them. Not really. If you did everything in your power to play your role, and that person didn't, then that person cheated themselves out of an opportunity.
So this comes down to when we were talking about the reasons for people to cheat, men and women.
Right.
Or what people call as cheating. I wouldn't say cheating. I would be like, oh, maybe you played me. Like you know, you was acting like we was this, and it wasn't really that. You wasn't being real with me. So I feel played more than I feel like you cheated on me. I feel like cheating is like, that's a very harsh, dramatic thing that it's not really that dramatic. But if you saying you somebody's boyfriend, you saying you wasn't even knowing how to be a boyfriend, so you probably wasn't even being a boyfriend or whatever that is. If there's somebody else that's being better and what she needs, it's possible. I think it's very possible she'll gravitate towards that, if not at least think about it, because that something is missing. Now the issue with that is, though, she's not giving herself a chance to be like, am I gonna find what's missing where I'm at right now and figure that out as well, mostly with myself? Or she thinks she's gonna find it in some other dude that's probably gonna have the similar things that's gonna bother you, and then you're just gonna keep hopping around to do the same thing, and you're just gonna get more and more confused, because if that spiritual connection happens through sex, you're messed up in the head then. And that guy is messed up in the head too. And even though I don't feel like men really admit it, but if there's a sexual energy that's exchanged, then y'all both messed up in the head. So for a guy, if she is not performing something at home and you like a little head, you know, when you wake up in the morning, don't just go find you a superhead. Talk to your girl. Learn what makes her want to give you head. Because there's a lot of people say, like, oh, she don't do this to me, or I just want to do a little kinky stuff. All right, you want to do kinky stuff, first of all, you should find out in yourself what that exactly is to you, why you want to do that, so that when you present her with this, she'll be like, oh, I'm just maybe satisfying him, or I want to please him in this way. I want to be intimate with him, so if this is his love language, or this gets him a certain way, or once in a while he just wants it because it's nice to him. But if your main thing is you need head all the time, man or woman, I do think that's kind of strange. But for you to want it here and there, you want to like expand your sexual night, and y'all doing this or whatever, then that's between y'all. But if once you start stepping out because you feel like you can't even talk to her about something y'all do sexually, then what y'all really got? Because it seems like in this time, sex is the easiest thing to talk about.
Yeah. It's the longest conversation people have. But this is, I guess this is why I was saying, it's also perception. People don't have enough substance in their life to talk to other people about things that are more meaningful than sexual encounters, boyfriend, girlfriend. And I passed the boyfriend, girlfriend stage. Like, I don't think men and women should be talking about boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not boys and girls, so we shouldn't be talking about boyfriend, girlfriend. So if you, and this is just my opinion, if you're in a boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, you're just not mature enough to be like, I'm a man, you're a woman. We're going to get to a point where we're going to get married or nothing. Mm-hmm. And most people already are in a vulnerable state where they can't let go of sex. So they can't just say, I'm going to get married straight and directly. Because they need sex. They don't need a partner. They need sex. And that's the foundation that they base their relationships off of, is just sex. Mm-hmm. And if sex is not working, there's a cheating personality coming out somewhere down the line. Like there's always something that somebody was aware of. Because
at the end of the day, a human being doesn't just want sex. Your mind may think it does, but as an entirely, you are gonna want something deeper, whether it's emotional support, connection.
Right. But these are things where it's pushed on us. This is why the social media thing is so big right now. Is that the agenda?
Well, that started up with not. I don't think. Well, from my age range, I feel like that started with pornography.
But even before pornography, I'm just saying, like, in this day and age, pornography is, it's the same thing in social media. If you see a lot of the same thing or listen to a lot of the same thing, it becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as sex. So if you're watching a lot of violent movies, you become more violent. If you're listening to a lot of, like, if you think about the 90s, you can only say, all right, people like Eddie Murphy singing in the jail cell with his headphones and his Walkman, and everybody looked at him like he was crazy because he's the only one singing out loud. People wasn't singing and speaking out loud in the 90s. But nowadays, you see and hear a lot of kids speaking and singing out loud to themselves walking down the street in their sane mind. Mm-hmm. They're getting a lot of different perspectives. When you think of television, it's telling you a vision, and it's always telling you to be violent. Guns, knives, broken arms, all of that stuff. You watch all the gory stuff. And then you watch video games like Grand Theft Auto, Mortal Kombat, all that stuff, more gory stuff. And then you watch a lot of sex and stuff, like a lot of YouTube and what other apps that they are exposed to. At some point in time, you're probably not gonna say it, but you're gonna realize that you got a lot of chaos in your life. Mm-hmm. All that energy, you're gonna want to do something with all that energy. So once you learn the habits of a female or a male, and you start to trigger certain things, because both of them do it, they both play games to get to the conversation. And then once you get to the conversation, then it gets a lot easier for you to just say what you're thinking. One person says one thing, and then before you know it, you're comfortable saying it. And then you repeat the same habits to get the other person or more people. And then that's going to be your lifestyle. Is that you're constantly going to try to use the same tactics to bring in more of the same things to satisfy you. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you've become the same thing you've watched. You're just not being filmed. So prostitution is the same thing. They're not getting paid in dollars maybe, but they're paying a price. And their souls, like when we watched I don't know if you watched the whole thing, when he talked about the females that are soul snatchers, and they'll drain you and take your nut, and the girl was saying what she was saying. Mm-hmm. Like, these things are real because people don't
but I believe a woman is only capable of that if you open that to her. You're not snatching it, you're selling it.
Yeah, but it's not one person.
What you mean? Not one person? Like that just happened?
She's like that. One, some people have extra estrogen.
Well, the shop is open. You chose to go up in there and pay.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that the majority is like this. So how... I can't get mad at everybody for being the way they are because I see that they're trapped.
Yes, but I do get annoyed when people may look at certain things and be like, that's a better way to be. Yeah. And they do nothing to figure out something about that better way that needs to be. They just continue the same thing. They don't do nothing. Not one thing to even be like, tell me your story, or go and even acknowledge the person to see what you can get from that.
They probably do. Like, there's people who it's very active over here with some sirens. Yeah. There's people who I've seen at a young age, and I know their household situation is very bad, and the friends that they're around are not really their friends, and we're children. Like, they have no answers, but they're calling out for help, but people don't understand the language of how they're calling out. So in their mind, it's just like this kid is just give up. They don't care. But the kid is really and truly trying to change.
Yeah.
They're scared. They're angry. They're all the emotions that adults are, but they don't know how to verbally communicate why and how and what should I do. It's
the same way the adults are doing it now.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is that you can't get mad at most people because they can see the answer, they can want the answer, but for you to expect that I'm going to have all the habits that trickle into being that character person, I'm not there. So you're not going to...
But you take the steps. That person wasn't just there. They took the steps to get there. In time, it happened.
Right. But what's the step?
You got to go investigate what that step is.
For you or for that person?
For that person, because to each person, they may be starting with a different deck of cards.
Right.
You know, so like wherever you are at right now, something that I don't think someone can deny unless they're like something wrong with the mental, you can look at yourself. That's where everything starts. You see that person has something together that you respect. That person already got that together. They didn't need you to see that, but you saw that. It starts with you. You was able to see that. We could be looking at the same person and not can see the character, and then with another person, they just see a person walking by. But if you saw it, that's the first sign.
Okay.
It's time to work on doing better. I don't mean it happened in a day. You're gonna be working on it forever.
Right. But that's what I was alluding to, is that we don't know how much steps that person put in. That person probably put in the steps, but nobody's acknowledging them. Some people is around them and they're tired of them. Like, there's a lot that people individually go through, and sometimes it comes down to everybody around me is me, but I'm all of that. They're just, he has one characteristic, she has one characteristic. They got it all together, and they forgot that some of them were at my point, but they don't care because they expect that I'm gonna get it because they got it.
Yeah, but so then that person as a teacher, if you come into that point and you as a teacher, you have to understand your student's a student. So you can't just be not breaking stuff down if someone's coming to you.
But that's what I'm saying, is that a lot of these things that we're talking about is not about the majority of people. It's really about us who have it all together. And now this overwhelms us because now we got to manage ourselves and manage the majority that don't have it all together.
We have to get over that. It's going to be annoying, it's going to be frustrating, same as a parent and a child. Yes, that child is going to frustrate you. Yes, these students are going to frustrate you. But get over it. You're going to have to either way. You're going to be more bothered if you see them all over the place later and knew you could have and you should have and you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Right. So now that you say that, get over it. Being annoyed.
I get over a lot of things. I have been always getting over annoyed. That doesn't stop me from getting annoyed, though.
Right.
Because I'm still human.
Yeah, I understand, but that's what I'm saying, is that these are the things that both sides are going through, is that you could be annoyed that somebody's repeating the same things, but you know why they're repeating the same things. Or if you know a little bit more why they're repeating the same things, it's not as annoying as it is if you don't know. Like, I don't want to go into personal situations, but there's certain people in my life that continue to watch TV, the news, and then get angry, yell at the TV.
Yeah, but that's when you know you're annoyed. At least of where I see it as now. When you know at a certain point you're annoyed and you always talk about your own peace, right, which is what's needed for you to even continue. If it's at a point where I'm annoyed, there's a reason I'm annoyed. It's usually you're not taking what I'm saying, or you're not there yet to hear it. It's deaf ears. It's right. Cool. I'm annoyed. I'm going to fall back to get my peace back. But while I fall back and regain my peace and how I develop as a person, you will see that. Now, you may still continue doing what you're doing, but that's that thing of you seeing it. So it is still affecting you. You are still being like, wow, you know, there's a group of people that I always talk about, stop eating, why is everything on the table just meat and pork and this, that, and the third. For years, I was talking to these people about this. Oh, you just want us all to be vegans. I'm not a vegan. Like, I'm not even that. You're putting something on me trying to deflect it. Cool, whatever. I'm still going to continue to be like, why every time I see y'all, this is what the plates look like. All right, cool. I fell back. I didn't even really say nothing to you. Go ahead and think that I just go and vanish and left y'all. Time comes back. Oh, you know, there's no pork in the house today. There's no, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to look at my watch and be a little snotty because I'm re-annoyed. Oh, it's about time. No, that's not something I should say, but as a human, like, sometimes I can't help that emotion. It could be because I'm a girl. I can't control my emotions. But...
Why are you laughing?
But it's just like, stuff like that. If I got to be annoyed so that I can finally walk away, because that walking away does give you the time that you need than me just being in your ear all the time about it. So I think they're all for a reason. And then you move on. Maybe you'll fall back, you'll get back into it. Maybe you'll be at a point in your life that there's a go back to that you'll never go to, which is still good. You'll never have to go all the way back to go. But you can now start at this checkpoint all the time.
That's growth. But to get back to the word cheating, that's exactly why I think everybody cheats. It's in human nature to, and when I think of the word cheat, it sums up. So the microwave, the car, all that stuff is to make life easier. So because God made things the way that He made it, humans want to make things easier. And they rather take the path that they are, comfortable with, and it comes with a cost.
Some things make things easier, but yeah, you're right. It comes with a cost.
It comes with a cost.
But
so,
some costs are way more expensive.
Of course, but that's what I'm saying is that
a car and a microwave. No, like you just compared a car and a microwave.
It's the same thing. Some things take longer. Some things faster, but
but longer is giving me more time.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter because you're not really, in my opinion, you're not really here to focus on time. You're really here to focus on your creator, and that's timeless. So if you get it at 20 something, you get it. You're just continuing, like you said, to stack, and then once you go back to the checkpoint, then it's like, all right, I know how to get back up, because you fell. Your bricks was faulty or weak or whatever it is. It broke, and then you went all the way back to the ground. But at least you have a solid foundation to start building again. But some people don't have that. They built something on water or on quicksand or whatever it is. They didn't know the landscape. So my thing is, as a human being, if you understand your foundation, and it should be your creator, however you want to describe the titles, if it's your creator, you don't have to use the word cheat. You know what you're doing and what you're not doing. And you're not trying to make life easier. You're just trying to appreciate the good and the bad and learn from it. So when that happens, all of that stuff gets eliminated. But most people don't look for their creator. They get into these relationships looking to idolize and love a human.
Well, that's because when they're seeing, they choose to turn a blind eye. Because it's all I don't know. I'm not other people, but I feel like you see it. You make a choice, though. At so many points in your life, the proof and the signs are there, and you choose This is what I think if this happened for real or metaphor or some things are exaggerated, but the story of Moses and the Pharaoh, it don't matter how many signs was drastic, the Pharaoh was still like, nah, your God doesn't exist. Yo, he just said, watch me do. You really still think it's a magic trick when all your sorcerers and magicians was like, nah, that's beyond what we do.
That's what I'm saying is that if you're talking from the mindset of a conscious person, you become a conscious person because of the experience you came out of. Whereas most of these people, they don't really experience much because they're watching each other and they're having a similar experience. So when you go through something with people, it's a lot easier to get through it together. But if you go through something as an individual by yourself, it's a lot harder, but you become more grounded because you're one of a kind. And you realize that, yo, I got out of this. And then people gravitate to you and you realize. So it's all realization. It's all realizing the reality around you is the separation between me, everybody else, and something else that helped me get out of this. That something else is more important to you than everybody else because everybody else either push you away or they're calling for you. So you can see the difference between yourself and everybody else and something else that's out there. But for a lot of other people, they live in this world of no substance where it's all about other people. It's not about that other thing. That other thing they can't really relate to.
I don't understand if that's from my upbringing, of my relationship with the Most High, or it's just an obvious thing. But my mom did always tell me that continuously, that the most important thing in life is your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Did those other people lack that?
No. Most likely they didn't. It is your experience. Every individual has an experience. But most people are following other people. So you have what's called a normal experience. If we both grow up in the same neighborhood and we both grew up together and we both play basketball all the time from very young to very old, most likely we don't go to church. We don't have too much experience of that. We don't go to mosque. We don't go to Kingdom Hall. We don't do none of that stuff. We heard about it through our friends and we see it and we hear about it on TV and we see it, but we don't have experiences of a supernatural event when we were down where we can connect that. You get it? So a lot of parents in the 90s would make sure that their kids go to church, and they put hands on the kids if the kids don't go to church, which is a contradiction. But kids actually have a reference to be like, I don't like church no more because my parents, or because I went there and this was bad. Like, they had references. Now they have a life experience where you're like, I got to make sense of this because there is a God. I probably don't know who it is, but there is a God, but I just don't know what, because I don't like the church still. But you're still searching now because you have a reason to search.
So then where does cheating come into? Like, is that just a distraction so that you don't have to be worrying about? Cheating is a lack of understanding. Everybody cheats because they don't fully if I fully understand something, I cannot cheat. It would make no sense, and it would I would force myself to always go the opposite way, because it's like if I know that thing is hot and it's gonna burn my skin and I love my skin, I'm not gonna do it. Because you get that.
I get it. I understand. I don't just know it, I understand it. So once you have an understanding of something, you don't go into it. And that's when people get it. That's when people come out of prison for the last time, be like, yo, I'm not going back. That's when people stop cheating and say, yeah, I'm done with cheating. I'm done with smoking. I'm done with drinking. I'm done with cursing. I'm done with whatever it is. You done with it because you now understand. And that's why I'm not big on telling people I'm sorry, unless I'm really sorry or I'm playing around, which I got to stop that anyway. Or telling, lying to them. So I said men shouldn't lie, because if Adam was the first human or first man and he lied to God, that means that he was looking more for the female's acceptance than God's acceptance. And that's usually what we're repeating is Adam's. We're starting from scratch every single time. Now, if I have nothing to owe you, you don't own me, you don't tell me what to do, what reason do I have to lie? I messed up and I had sex with that person. But I bring it to God first before I even bring it to you. So now I'm good with it. That's what repentance is. It's like, you're basically doing a process of elimination, saying like, I want my creator to forgive me. Once your creator forgives you, don't harp on it. If she still don't forgive you, then that's on her. So if somebody was to shoot me or shoot my family, I still love that person. I forgive them because I understand I could have been the same person like them. That's how I understand. I accepted that person who did what they did to my family, because I know that in my heart I had the desire to kill someone too. So all these things is just really you being understanding, and when you understand, that's the true nature or the true God inside of you. That's the love. That's unconditional. And men and women have that. And I believe that it came from men first, because men look for true men that look for God as their unconditional love. And there's no excuse throughout the week, the month, the year. They don't go through seasons where they have an excuse. So God's not going to just be like, oh well, yeah, like you're responsible for yourself, you're responsible for her, not the way that Adam did it, but you're responsible for her, and you're responsible for the children. But first is go to him. He gives you what you need. When you give it to them or her, she gives you what you need, and she goes to the child and gives to the child, and it's an order. But people are looking more at each other like, I want to compete with you. If you're cheating, I want to cheat just as well or better. You're just pushing us further down. We're all going down. You're just pushing us further down.
Yeah.
And now it's up to us that are more conscious and more of an individual for us to be responsible for ourselves.
That's why I feel like things kind of got a little weird at some point, because when I was younger and I was watching older women married or whatever. Most of our parents were married. Can't say most of them, but or you were a part of a divorce or something, but you've seen them together. When, I don't know if this is, women were able to hide it, but it seemed like if a cheated on her, her first step was trying to figure out
why,
what she was doing wrong or why, whatever. But now it's like the first step is, oh, I already got somebody on speed dial to get you back. I already prepared for you to cheat so I can cheat back. That's like, what?
Yeah.
So you didn't even go into that trusting it, or over time you didn't even start to gain a trust. So then why have you still been there? And that's like, even if people are being relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, or you my man, I'm your girl, whatever. If deep inside you don't feel a growth between y'all, then why stay? And so you could dead this now and find that either with yourself, which you should if you don't have it together, and then approach somebody with that, knowing of you. Now what you learn, you move on. Now that does get complicated if you gotta bust a nut. But you should learn how to use your fingers too, and remind yourself that don't nobody do it better than you unless you really fucking with them.
I mean, that's the difference between. I can't say that, but I can't
you
because
gotta
that's
beat yourself off and give yourself time.
this is why I say I can't say that. Like, I'm doing a lot of like searching into what all that is, like masturbation.
I'm not saying I'm condoning masturbating as an addiction.
No, I'm not saying that either. But I'm saying altogether, like there's a lot of stuff that I'm searching and I'm trying to look into. Like, is this stuff, is it okay? Is it good? Is it bad? And I just can't say right now. But all I know is, when it comes to, yeah, she's out of it. When it comes to,
I'm just saying right now, to go and be celibate for a lot of people is dramatic. So for me, I'm trying to think of ways that one can gradually do better. Because doing things dramatically, it turns so many people off and they just go back to the same ways.
right, but it's all for naught if you don't have a foundation. This is what I'm saying, is that people are trying to skip steps to get where they need to get. And you can skip steps, but eventually those steps are solid. Like they can break too. But there's only one thing that's like the truth. You can't break it. You can't go through it. You can, like, it's there. As long as you're in the truth, you cannot fall.
But it's another siren. I get what you're saying, but when I think of the masses, they need a little more. They need their handheld a little bit more.
I agree. We're the steps, but we can break. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people need to learn how to let go and stop thinking that they're doing it. They're actually running the show. Like, when you let go and allow God to do what He does, like, it's like, all right. I think I used this reference before. A woman does something, a guy messes it up, and then he noticed that he messed it up. She's like, oh my gosh. He knows that he messed it up, and he tries to fix it, and he makes it worse. And she's like, stop. And then he tries, no, I got it. And he makes it even worse, and she's like, just stop. And he continues, and it keeps getting worse every time he goes. Why? Because he doesn't understand what she initially did in the first place. And this is the human nature, is that God created something in the first place, and we keep on trying to mess with it, trying to fix something that we don't even understand. You gotta let go and allow God to teach you so that you can discover it, and then you can say, oh, I understand, and keep allowing that. But for whatever reason, we keep trying to put our hand in it and saying that this is our history, and it's not ours. It's gonna fall eventually. We're both gonna fall. But we can be those steps, those light steps, for somebody to be like, I'm a little closer than that. But they each have an individual journey to go to understand that Creator. And that we cannot step. We cannot give them. We get it? Like, so the cheating thing is a natural way of going through things when you're not doing things the correct way, the true way. And we all cheat in different ways. But it's just perspective, because I don't like the way you did that. You cheated me out of that.
Okay.
You get it? So I can't get mad at people who cheated on me.
So it's more of you cheated me out of how I could have got that lesson or learned that. You cheated me out of a realization.
Yeah, you knew what you were doing and I didn't.
So when people say you cheated on me, they're kind of not even thinking about what they're exactly saying in that case.
Yeah, they just using the same reference somebody else used. But I think women used to do this better than men. If a man cheated, shoot, accept him back in. And like you said, other women would be like, she's a fool for that, because she loves him that much. But a man would do the same thing, and other men would call him a simp. But both sides, and this is the majority of people now, are fools. because this is God's way of doing things, which is you forgive and you forget. And this is what it looks like, is that this person did not understand. Forgive them for what they did not understand or did not know. You accept that they didn't know, and then you still give your heart, but you're not giving your heart to this human to start with, and you're not doing it all over again. The whole point was you're giving yourself to your Creator first, and you're using this person, and this person knows this, you're using this person as another way to get closer to your Creator. It's the other half of your Creator. So if you both have that understanding of marriage, then you both walk together into that kingdom.
Yeah.
But if one of you cheats that kingdom, you didn't cheat me, you cheated your own experience of getting into the kingdom. I'm gone. I'm good.
That point of cheating yourself out of that, if you're with a partner that can be there to help you realize that, and they can forgive, I don't think no one's going to really forget, but they'll forgive enough that it becomes a forgetful thing. They can put you back, help you back on the track you wanted to travel on, the journey you wanted to travel on. They can help your mind jump back and forth. This is why we do need each other still. No one does it, technically not just alone, but our support systems have to be able to be there, as they say in marriage, for better or for worse. But I feel the same with my friends. For the same, I ain't gonna lie, not always with people that we share the same DNA. Sometimes it's just like, I think I gotta let you go entirely. It's just like that sometimes. But when it comes to my friends, that's a family I created. So I knew when I pulled you in, we wasn't forced together.
Yeah.
This happened naturally.
Yeah, that's. There's two sides of that, but that's a great example. Like, you know, family is people who believe in you, who support you and push you forward. But so it doesn't have to be blood, because you can't really see that. That doesn't really help your growth. But what it does do is that you know your bloodline, and if you know that, then you know your responsibilities. In terms of your heritage, you do want to keep close to that too. But in terms of like the challenge, God is you don't know what challenges are for you. Like I said, you're discovering that stuff. So you have to always constantly. This is why I more and more I'm starting to appreciate people who are always in prayer and don't get bored. Like every single day, people who are Muslim, they're consistent. That's why I say the truth is everywhere. Like,
sometimes people I be noticing other people. Some people just be like, I could feel the haterade that you drinking in your cup when these cats at my job, they go and pray, whatever. And I'm just like, yo, let these dudes, like, they're constantly being reminded, even when they do fuck shit. They know they sin. They know sometimes they down there praying extra long, because he probably know, or she probably know. Yo, I need another second because I got to check myself. And I got to reconnect. How can someone hate on that?
Because they don't understand. That's the opposite of understanding, is the hatred. That's why Satan hates so much, in religious beliefs, is because Satan is the opposite of understanding, and that is also a choice. So to your point, like, if they don't want to, but at the same time, I believe God made it that way so that it happens. It has to happen that way. I don't know all this stuff to make sense of it all, but God is all. So I'm pretty sure that there's a reason for the opposite and it being that way.
I'm gonna pause this here though.
All right, we couldn't have experience without it.